18th, 2026 at 6:50 p.m. Would everybody stand and join me with the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you. Thank you. First thing is recognizing the Finance Department for receiving the 14th consecutive Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting from the Government Finance Officer Association for the 2024 Comprehensive Annual Financial Report and Audit. Mr. White?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for giving us a couple minutes to recognize. I know the Finance Department's name is on the certificate, and they deserve a ton of credit, or the most credit, because it's something that they live and breathe every single day in how we operate. But the award itself is really a collaborative effort amongst all of our departments, and it involves a daily focus on every single financial type of transaction that we have, and it's something that folks have bought into and take very seriously. And so it's something that we are obviously very, very proud of. The GFOA, which is the Government Finance Officers of America, will tell us that this is the highest level of financial recognition a municipality in the United States can get. So it is something that we do take very seriously and we're very proud of. I'd like to specifically recognize Mr. Tate, our Finance Director, and Mrs. Lacey, our Assistant Finance Director, for their leadership in the daily oversight of what goes on in the Finance Department, as well as the effort with all the departments and leading the independent audit team that comes in and who is ultimately responsible for taking the look at everything and telling us what we're doing right and what we can do better. So I'd like to congratulate Bob and his team and the rest of the departments too, as well as the commissioners, for your continued leadership and support in making sure that we take our financial reporting as one of the most serious things we do every single day.
Thank you. All right, backtracking a little bit, sorry. I'd like to give notice of executive session where we discussed real estate matters. Just happened prior to this meeting. Thank you. Recognition, Radnor Township, a 2025 Tree City USA. Mr. White?
Yes, thank you. Not to be outdone on the financial side, obviously if you pay attention to these meetings or you're participating in them, you know just how serious Radnor is about the maintenance and care and our approach in terms of tree management. I don't know how many years Radnor has been a Tree City USA. I think it's been a very, very, very long time. They're boasting their 50th year. But this too, much like the financial piece, is a collaboration amongst a lot of different groups, led of course by the commissioners and the ordinances and the laws that you adopt that put such an emphasis and priority on tree management, down to the Shade Tree Commission and the volunteers that we have that sit on that board that look at all of the land development plans and play a very important role in making sure that the laws are followed from a land development standpoint, but then also take a leadership role in making sure that trees are being replanted as required not only by the ordinance, but just out of the commitment to replant trees on a regular basis throughout Radnor Township. So combination of the commissioners, the Shade Tree Commission, as well as Ms. Cohen and her department and Parks and Recreation and Ricky Foster in the Public Works Department. It is a collaborative effort, and I will say, even as recently as this weekend when you get the aerial shots of the PGA Championship, coupled with the increased number of drones, and you get a lot more bird's eye view of what this community looks like in ways that we really haven't seen outside of very special circumstances when you used to hire a helicopter or plane. Now it's all the time. And Radnor really is a beautiful tree city. Like, it is, especially when they're in bloom right now. It's hard to look anywhere in town and not see the massive amount of trees that we have. And this is a recognition of that effort. So Radnor Township 2025 Tree City USA.
Thank you. All right, moving on to public participation. Anyone from the public can speak for 5 minutes? Anyone? Okay, seeing none, we're going to go to the consent agenda. Would anyone from the public or board like to pull an item from the consent agenda? All right, seeing none. Can I have a motion?
So
for the consent
moved.
agenda? And a second. All in favor? Aye. Okay, on to the business agenda. 3A, Resolution 2026-53, authorization Radnor Township to enter into a purchase agreement with Confirm OK LLC to provide software and technical support services to enhance community safety and support vulnerable populations through automatic daily check-ins. The proposed Confirm OK LLC agreement is a one-year term with a monthly subscription fee in the amount of $650 a month, half of which, $325, will be paid by the Wayne Senior Center. Confirm OK LLC will provide the township with access to and use Confirm OK, a software as is a service that performs daily check-ins. Services include technical support, software updates, and maintenance. Can I have a motion? So moved. And a second?
Second.
Thank you. And discussion.
Thank you, Radnor Commissioners, community, and Manager White. A big honor to be here before you to talk about some exciting stuff. I'd like to introduce my co-presenter today, Katie Mann, from the Wayne Senior Center, director and champion of so many initiatives here in Radnor Township and taking care of so many residents. As we also have online, if you're watching, Leon Smith from Confirm OK. And I know that presentation where you read it out, it's hard to understand. We're going to break it down for everybody so they understand what we're looking to do and hopefully get approved tonight. The mission of the Radnor Township government is to serve the best interests of all our residents by providing and maintaining a secure environment that enhances the quality of life for the individual and the community. I think we're really bringing something forward that follows the motto of the mission statement of Radnor Township. Confirm OK is going to give us the capability to check in with residents, whether young or old, no matter what challenges they may be facing, 24/7 check-in capabilities where they'll be able to have access to, where the families will be able to have access to this check-in service. If the check-in service doesn't work and there's some breakdowns, which Leon will tell us about how that goes, then the police or the senior center would get notified and we would take action to make sure that that resident would be checked on within each day to eliminate unnecessary downtimes for emergency response, even something simple, from a simple issue to a major issue. I'm going to talk to Katie why she came forward with this and how we got on this. Good.
Hi, everybody. Nice to see everyone. Thank you so much for having me. So when Superintendent Flanagan approached me about this program, we were immediately on board. This is the type of program that is incredibly valuable and very simple and powerful for older adults in our community. It's a preventative safety net for anyone who's living independently in our community and wants to remain in their homes. And it supports safe aging in place, which in reality, all of us are aging in place in the community. It's something we all have in common. We are all aging. Aging is living. So programs like this would help further position Radnor Township as an age-friendly community, which we know it already is. But by 2030, 1 in 3 Pennsylvanians are going to be over the age of 60. And so organizations like the Senior Center and communities around the state have all been proactively preparing for the growing needs of older adults who want to remain independent and stay in their homes. Many older adults in Radnor Township, we know this through our interactions with people at the Senior Center, are solo agers, are living alone, maybe a widow or widower, or their family is not local, and so their family, they have no family nearby. So a daily wellness check like this not only provides peace of mind for themselves, but also for their loved ones who may live at a distance. And then a missed check-in can, a missed check-in call can identify a fall, a medical emergency, and prevent a further crisis or tragedy. And the connection with the Senior Center through this program will also allow our staff to provide further outreach and directly respond to other needs that may arise through the intake process with seniors, so that we can provide further information and referral, not only to the Aging Services Network, but to also like other community resources. So.
Thank you, Katie.
Yeah.
Mr. Smith, would you give the board and our community a brief overview of how it works and the features, please?
Absolutely, yes. Thank you for your time. So Confirm OK is a simple system that essentially allows residents to sign up with a senior center or local law enforcement. Once they sign up and choose a time to be called, the system will call that individual daily. And so typically, a chief, sheriff, or mayor records their voice. The resident hears a voice every day saying, if you're okay, press 1 and pound to check in. Once they check in, great, no action is taken. Now, if someone misses a check-in, which means we called once, we called twice, we called 3 times, if they miss each of those check-ins, then we send alerts to the senior center, to the local law enforcement, letting them know, hey, a resident did not check in today. This is their address, this is their phone number. You can take action at this time. So essentially, the program is built around creating a safety net and allowing people, again, to age in place with dignity. We're in 13 states currently, and always building out features and different ways to help seniors and local law enforcement and nonprofits help their community.
Commissioners, while we have them on, do you have any questions for Mr. Smith about how the process works?
I do. I have several. First off, Mr. Smith, can this be a landline or a mobile phone? Or because I'm just worried people go on vacation, they forget to tell you, and then you have the police or someone out at their house. And
Yes, thank you. So it can be a landline or mobile phone. The process typically is if someone's going on vacation, they alert whoever admins the system, I'm going on vacation. The system can pause their check-ins for a set amount of time until they come back.
sort of like a hold mail service, yeah, got it. And you were saying that you could get this through either the senior center or through the law enforcement? I mean, what if you're not associated with the senior center, I guess is what I'm saying. How would you access this?
So there's 2 ways. One, you can sign up for the service online. You don't even have to necessarily involve us. We'll advertise it. However, we are definitely emphasizing, especially some of our population that may not feel comfortable with computers, that the senior center is the primary. Our staff here and their staff will also be trained. Radnor Township Building, the police admins will also help a resident. And should they not be able to get here or to the senior center, then a police officer will go out and help navigate the system. So if approved tonight, there'll be a training session for our teams to make sure they understand how to navigate some of the different options, because there's several options, which we won't go through all of them, that you can enter in on this platform. And then that would also be at our fingertips for police, fire, EMS, should we need to access any additional information or emergency contacts.
Perfect. And Ms. Gallagher, put you on the spot for a second. Will we be advertising this via the website?
Sure, I'm happy to work in collaboration with the police department if they so wish.
I think that would be terrific. And then the senior center will do it too, and maybe that way we can umbrella as many people that have need of this as possible. And then I guess for Mr. Smith, what's the false positive? Like how many of these calls are send somebody out to the house and in fact they really are on vacation or they're at the neighbor's house at a party or whatever? Like what's the false positive rate?
Yes, thank you. What we find is that when people sign up, they're self-selecting, and so they look forward to these calls every day. So as the programs kick off, we'll have a couple false positives as people get used to the flow of the system. But within a couple weeks, we see a really high check-in rate for individuals. And as more people learn about it and they can self-select, they're looking forward to the call. Another item that we observe is for many people, this is the only phone call that they get for the whole day. And so this is an event that they look forward to. So it's pretty, the check-in rate is pretty high.
Thanks so much. I think it's terrific. Good.
So, go ahead. No, please go ahead. Okay. Just to that, I guess I missed it. Is this an automated voice? I heard you say there's a recording, or is it a real person that is, you're saying it's the only phone call they get. Are they actually talking to an operator, or is it just a press one to tell us you're okay?
Yes, it's a recorded voice.
I asked because there's a town my folks lived in that had the service, and it was a direct phone call to the police every morning that she had to proactively call, and if that call didn't come through by a certain time, they would come out. So this is much more efficient, and it also, in need, it does bring somebody to them quickly. So I really love this. Thank you.
Again, I love it as well. I was, well, I guess Commissioner Mulroney's question, I was thinking if it were a real person or how this would work, you would, if you're living by yourself, eventually people can start to become confused. But there's no way that someone on the other end would know that, other than maybe they don't push the right button or something like that. Is that sort of it? Is that the idea?
So it's not, since it is recording, but let's just say that they're not able to manipulate the phone. Let's say that starts to set in. That would activate the team. Just, you can add what we call a care circle. So it'd be a couple people. So say you went on vacation, part one to you, ma'am, that they would actually, that would be the second potential call, and they say, oh, no, they're on vacation, they forgot to tell you. So there's also a little bit of a stopgap measure. But in reference to your question, Commissioner, part two of that would be is if you start having different types of issues or manipulation issues, we're now going to start getting activated, and then our people would start picking up on that, or Katie's team, so we would hopefully be able to activate more care, adjustments, or emergency response should it be warranted. So I think it does that, but maybe not right out of the gate because it's automated, but some of the backup features to the way the system operates will help catch that.
Is that someone goes out?
We would go out, like once, if nothing works, the police are going to go to the house.
Thank you.
And if no other questions, just on the business end of this, that we are partnering together with a commitment from the Wayne Senior Center. This would be offered free to our residents. We're going to do a one-year evaluation and see how it works. And the township has put it in the split, so it's a public-private partnership with a great partner. And I ask for your strong consideration into this matter.
I have a quick question for Leon or Mr. Smith. Apologize. I see the first name. I always go right there. So this is technically a wellness service, and I keep hearing the word care. So as residents enter the data, their PII, this I'm assuming is HIPAA protected. So do we have BAAs in place, and is this, what kind of security protocols do you have for data and privacy?
Yeah, thank you. So the system, so technically the data is encrypted in place or at rest. The PII that is stored for a wellness check is phone number, address, name. Everything else is optional. In terms of security is extremely important to us. We'll be happy to share with you our security protocols and how we deal with that. But the system is stored in what we call the cloud. They have very strong, stringent standards as to who can access the data. Within each of our clients, again, you can only access your client's data, and we have an audit trail of, again, everyone that has access to data. So data security is very important to us, and happy to share with you our data protocols as soon as possible.
Yeah, that'd be great. I think this is a really great service. I work in healthcare tech, so I take data privacy really seriously. So I want to make sure that we have the right architecture in place and the right agreements in place, especially as a township if we're promoting it, just to make sure that, we have all the right, bells and whistles. And then, of course, if we have any, indemnification clauses we need to worry about and things like that, I'll let the lawyer up. But at the same time, I think those are really important things for us to consider and look at the disclosures as we think about the decision.
Yeah, quick question. Say you, in the daily call, and it's a recording, but the person that the resident that they're talking to is saying that they're out of their prescription, and they just say that. Does that go anywhere? Like, what would happen in that case?
If there's any information, it would be forwarded to either their care circle if they choose to add anybody. If there is nobody, it's a two-part answer. If there is nobody, it would eventually come to the senior center or us. And to be honest with you, if you dial 911 and said the same thing, we would respond out and come up with a solution or get somebody who could help.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much. If there's no other questions. Sure. Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Thank you.
Any public discussion on this? Okay, seeing none. All in favor? Hold on, sorry.
I just have a question. Is this?
Come up to the mic.
Thank you. So, thank you for taking my question. Would this be open to everyone in the community? So anybody, and what's the requirement? Would it, you have to live alone, or you are a certain age, or?
The way it was presented, there's no requirement. You just
Okay.
would have to sign up.
Okay, so anybody can
You'd have to be a Radnor
sign.
resident, is my understanding, and you'd have to sign up.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Sounds good.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
And I would just add that, and committed to, participating in the program. So, if you're, I would imagine if you're not answering the call in several days and somebody's sent out to your house and you're found to be able-bodied and it was, that you weren't in need, you might be encouraged to not use the system, right? I think you have to be, it has to be something that you are going to do every day and need every day, or, it's something that isn't going to work for you. So I would just suggest that it has to be a commitment on both sides.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to call a vote on Resolution 2026-53. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Three B, Resolution 2026-71, authorization and payment of change orders for the Fenimore Woods Improvement Project, contract B-25-003B to White Marsh Electric, Inc. in the amount of $4,341.84 to be paid from the proceeds of the 2016 general obligation bond. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Oh, those blue tarps are back.
Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to present this evening. This is not only an opportunity to come before you to take a look at these resolutions that are before you for authorization this evening, but also to celebrate a project that has been in motion for about a decade now. So with regards to Fenimore, yes, we're talking about Operation Blue Tarp. So I couldn't start a presentation without having one, even though if you were at the site right now, you would not see the blue tarp, finally. So I wanted to take this as an opportunity tonight to really just talk about the transformation that we've seen really in the last 6 to 9 months with the project. Just to trace the steps a little bit, this was a comprehensive project that was funded in 2016 by a general obligation bond that not only included the stable renovation that we're kind of giggling about a little bit right now, but also to replace the pavilion, rehab the parking lots, the walking paths, create accessibility throughout the park, as well as a number of other improvements that are on the horizon. So the project started in 2016 when the money was borrowed. In 2022, it was a project that went back to the Parks and Recreation Board for revision. If you'll recall, we took a few years stepping through another community input and gathering. And then 2024, we refined the project scope after some goals and objectives were aligned by the Parks and Recreation Board. And then in March of 2025, we bid the project. It came in grossly over budget at $1.8 million. We came back, we rebid. This was the stable portion. We came back, we rebid it, we awarded it at a more reasonable amount at $1 million in July of just 2025. Construction began roughly in mid-October and progressed pretty rapidly throughout most of the fall and the winter. So despite a lot of snow that covered the ground throughout the winter and some really cold months, the contractor persisted, and we have a lot of amazing progress that has taken place. Project was on a very thin budget, and at this point where we are, still well within the budget of the 2016 GOB. So when we moved through our presentations over the years, in 2024, we took a look at the rendering that you see on the screen today that we had authorized Seiler Jury, our architects, to come up with when we did the intensive review of the project scope. And I just want to take a pause here to just say thank you so much to the Parks and Recreation Board that was involved in this for many, many years, as well as the Fenimore Woods Coalition. I think we have a member of them that's with us here this evening, maybe some at home watching, and especially to all of you members of the Board of Commissioners for all the time that you've put in on this. The goal was to renovate a historical asset for adaptive reuse. In no way was this a historic renovation, but it was a recreation and a goal of using the facility and remodeling it back into bathrooms and a functional storage at the greatest cost savings as possible, which is the way we stepped through it. Fully code compliant so that folks can access it, obviously, for everyone. Utilities at the site were brought in from the north, as you see on the drawing. Again, these are just some slides we kind of looked at over the years. Water and electric were brought into the park and fully renovated to the north side. As you can see on the building, there are 2 septic tanks that have since been 2 cast cement septic tanks that have been lowered into the ground. They're all have been installed to service the building's septic sewer needs. And then this kind of gives you a perspective of some of the changes that are still on the horizon in terms of the accessibility for the stable so that folks will have convenient access. So right now, we have the entrance drive that has always led up to the back of the building. There'll be a convenient walkway that not only will service the parking lot to an accessible parking spot, but also connect to the pavilion with greater accessibility, as well as the lower parking lot and the playground area and the playground space. So not to take a look at some of these old pictures and kind of walk down memory lane, but it is enlightening as we've come through and looked at the progress. This was a building that was built in 1910. It's approximately 1,500 square feet on the main floor. We know there have been a lot of issues that have accrued over the years due to basically a lack of maintenance that has occurred on the facility and within the facility. So just to kind of take a look at some of these. So as the project has gotten started, some of the change orders that are before you tonight entail some additional demo work for duct work with some of the conditions within the building that just weren't capable of being seen before it was basically ripped apart, such as some of the additional roof layers, some paneling and things like that that were within the walls that were not realized, that required a lot of additional work. There was some additional duct work that wasn't originally in the plumbing scope because it wasn't seen. Some of these areas had to be further ripped apart and added, of course, to the cost of the project. As you're probably aware, we had a change order that was embedded in from the get-go that covered a lot of these items that was within the budget. So these are some pictures just to kind of show some of the roof demo. I just wanted to share these with the board. On a monthly basis, I'm giving updates to the Parks and Recreation Board. So I know, Howard, over the years you've seen, over the last year, you've seen a lot of these before coming into your role here with the commissioners and your leadership. So some of these might be a repeat. This shows some of the framing and the plywood sheathing on the building, on the exterior walls, of course. Here you can see some of the soffits and the fascia coming together. Masonry obviously is a big part of this project in terms of rebuilding a lot of the stone, and not only on the full exterior and interior of the building, but also forming a lot of the lintels in the areas around the windows. So we know that there were some voids that were not expected in terms of this area, so that's another change order that is in that listing that you're seeing tonight on that change order to Davis Construction. So this shows you some of the interior, so you could see there's a lot of crumbling and a lot of work that had to be done as the masonry had gotten underway. There's a lot of that in all areas of the structure. So here's a picture of some of the window forms, and then you can see some of the patchwork within some of the voids that were filled in the masonry. And then some of the rough-ins. So here's some more of the framing, some of the rough-ins for the plumbing. I know one of the other change orders in front of you has to do with some rewiring to the electric hot water heater. So just some unforeseen things that we encountered along the way. This shows some of the electrical rough-ins, the plumbing rough-ins, showing some of the exterior views once the Tyvek coating was put on, which provides some protection on the interior of the wood and the structure, looking at the main entrance there. There's also an engineered wood siding that you could see that's being affixed here, probably in about the mid-fall. And then, of course, once the weather cleared, we were able to start to get the shingles on, and the building really started to take shape at this point. So not only do you see some of those areas, but also some of the faux inserts for some of the windows, and you can see more of the patchwork on the masonry starting to come together. Here's another image of just some of the infills from the window areas, the faux doors that have been put on. One of the other change orders was the voids in and around some of the perimeter of the area where the building was running the risk of water seepage getting into the foundation. So those were some of the unforeseen conditions that had occurred also, where some of the additional work needed to be done. So this is an interior of what you'll see, a little bit of a preview of the bathroom, where you see the interior and the tiling, and then the faux door, of course, that kind of gives you the look of a barn door, reminiscent, of course, of the stable. You can see there's two restrooms, of course, that are unisex-based restrooms. So coming together, still obviously not open, but just showing you a little bit of a preview of that. Here's another area of the building showing the gutters. We also have a light that is up on the top of this. This is actually west-facing, so this would be facing towards the pavilion. One of the electrical change orders, of course, was to change the lighting to a photocell light, just for better functionality and more ease of not having to program a light system every time the time changes. And some additional images of the site work where we saw a lot of the groundwork come together to fill the voids, where the foundation, of course, meets the grading. You're seeing the whitewash paint, of course, being put on here. So starting to really change, the look of the masonry and basically bring it back to life, and starting to fit that image we saw in the rendering on one of the first slides. From the interior, there were some sections where the previous toilets and restrooms had to be ripped out, so that created a lot of voids on the inside of the concrete. So what you're looking at inside is inside the building, where those had to be filled and demoed, refilled with concrete, so that those levels, those floors could be leveled and surfaced appropriately. So here's how some of that had come together. Again, was another change order. There were also some areas where some of the rafters had to be further sistered in terms of being able to support some of the roofing structures. Again, until the building was ripped apart, some of these things were just unforeseen. So bringing those together so that they're more stable. This is an image also just showing the second floor, which is not going to be accessible, so it's just carved out as a stable attic, essentially, but not a useful space. It's just really showing sort of the loft outfit here, and you see all of the timber that's been affixed and constructed within that space. And just some more images of some of the exterior work that had been done per some of the change orders. These are the holding tanks. The one that you see in the foreground is the secondary holding tank. The one to the right, of course, is the primary that's capturing the sewer that's coming out of the facility once they become operable, which will, of course, be an ongoing service that'll be provided to the building. And part of the project that happened in lieu of a full sewer system being run down into Paul Road, as we know, is a big cost savings to the project to be able to install the septic systems versus going with a full sewer line and full line down to Paul Road, basically. And this is just showing the slabs coming together to cover those. And if you were out at the site today, you'd see that a lot of this is covered up because they're already filling in the space. So looking at the interior, I know one of the things we discussed early on was whether or not we would finish and outfit the space. There certainly is a possibility at this point that we can do that if we wanted to engage another change order. I know it's something that we are having discussions with the contractor on to see if there is a feasible way to not necessarily outfit the space with drywall, but some other type of a material that doesn't require the conditioning of the space that we know we looked at early on with regards to HVAC, which was going to add more money to the project. But there may be a way to outfit it so that we can better cover the walls so that there's some insulation. That way, if we ever did have a situation where we were having a camp or a program running at the site and we wanted to bring kids in because there's some sort of a weather event or some sort of a situation where we needed to get them to a shelter, of course the space would be able to accommodate that. So that's why the consideration does still sit there to evaluate whether or not there is a feasible way we could make that happen through some additional work at the site. So this kind of just shows what it would look like today if we don't do that from the interior. And then this image here, of course, I just took this picture yesterday being out at the site to kind of demonstrate that the park is still an active construction zone. I know we're continuing to try and communicate with folks so that they know that these areas are closed and shouldn't be gone into, just given the fact that the work is not done. I know we've had people call us. They're very anxious to use the pavilion. The pavilion looks like it's completely done and ready to go for public usage, but at this point, there's still a lot of work to be done. We still have the water fountain that needs to be installed. There's still a significant amount of site grading away from the pavilion slab that needs to occur. Obviously, there's a significant amount of site work that has to occur in and around the stable with work still progressing. And looking outward, we still have the parking lot renovations, the walking path, and the accessibility that all still needs to be completed as we know right now is being evaluated for subsequent bid to the project. We are going to be putting site furnishings throughout the park. There's benches that will need to be replaced. Although we're using a lot of the existing picnic tables that we used under the existing pavilion, there's still some other plans to add benches in and around the pond area as part of the project, as well as plant new trees. So we know that that is also a large part of the project that we had talked about early on. So some of those things will come back to you for approval. So when things like the water fountain, if we're putting grills around the pavilion area, we have additional benches, things like that are going to come back to you for approval. So just wanted to remind you guys that you will see that again. That will come back before the board to see those items, as they are different aspects of the project that are part of the phasing and the sequencing that we had planned on all along. So very excited to see the transformation. It's quickly becoming a site that will be inclusive for everyone to use and enjoy. And I know folks in the community, now that the weather's really nice, a great night like tonight, and we hear all the time, people are excited to get back on the site and the property and start to use it and book it for their graduation parties and their birthday parties and things like that. So we're excited to finally get to that point and make it available to the public. So unless you have any questions on the two resolutions, I tried to kind of step through those as I went through. Both are separate because this is a multi-prime contract. So one of those change orders is going to White Marsh and one is going to Davis, who is the site GC. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. Any public comment?
I
Don't have a mouse.
Board comment?
Yeah, I do. I have some questions about this. I guess I'm a little, so these change orders, like it just feels like some of these things should have been anticipated and weren't. So I'm wondering sort of where that breakdown may have been.
Well, I think, so some of the change orders that have to do with some of the roofing areas, as well as the paneling and some of the things I covered, just were unforeseeables based on the way the facility was when the contractors went through it to estimate their bids. So there's things that they just couldn't see behind the existing walls that were up within the facility. So the images that you're looking at here weren't kind of what it looked like when they went into it, because the building was carved out in terms of how the township had it, I'll call it finished, because it did have bathrooms in it previously.
So that's the one that actually sort of struck me, was that we knew we were pulling out, the existing bathrooms, but didn't anticipate you'd have to cover with cement. It may not be a big cost, but it seems like that, one would follow the other when putting the response to the bid together. So the change orders that are presented tonight, are they within the contingency of the project?
They
or
are.
is this above and beyond?
Well, so for the contingency that had been allocated, which I believe was about 20% of the project when we had bid it, they are within that.
So what was the total all-in that was approved?
The total based on the approvals tonight.
What was the total project cost?
So the award to Davis was $882,255. The White Marshes was $59,500, and then Innovative, who's the plumbing contractor, theirs was $91,600, which came out to roughly, I believe it was $1.3 million, I think was the total on the project. So the award in total from July of 2025 would have totaled roughly $1.3 million.
And this change order is?
So the change order.
Adding up to over $400,000.
No, so the change order to, so the change order to White Marsh is $4,341. And then the change order to Davis, which we've amended tonight to remove the parking lot portion, is 57,971. And that removed the 350,000 that included the rehabilitation for the walkways and the parking lots. Thank you, Commissioners.
So this is on Resolution 2026-71. And we have a motion. Public comment? Anyone? Okay. We'll call the vote. All in favor for this resolution? Aye. Aye. Okay. 3C, Resolution 2026-67, authorization of the payment of change orders for Fenimore Woods Improvement Project, contract B25003B to Davis Construction in the amount of $408,309.78 to be paid for the proceeds of the 2016 general obligation bond.
So,
That's
Commissioner, so this
$408,000.
this would be the amended, so the amendment would be.
We haven't amended
Oh,
it
I'm sorry,
yet.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's the resolution. Can I have a motion for this resolution?
So moved?
Well, Mr. President, can I, before we vote on that motion, if I could suggest a motion to amend this resolution?
First, we have to have a
We have to-
motion for the resolution, then we have one that amends it.
All right, so,
Then we go back and vote on the amended resolution.
so for this resolution as printed, do I have a motion? And a second?
Second.
Comment?
Yeah, I think as Director Cohen was alluding to, we'd like to remove the paving part of this change order, because it's not really a change order. It was never included, and after discussion with our legal team, it seems that we should keep this resolution as the changes that have happened and pull out the paving part to go out for bidding as a separate resolution.
All right, thank you. And after we pull it out, right, how much would be left then?
All right, well, I could make an amendment. How about that?
That'd be
A
great.
proposal? So I would propose to amend Resolution 2026-67 to remove change number 9, the paving portion of this, which is a total dollar amount of $350,337.58, which will leave a change of $57,972, if you round, which is what the Resolution 2026-67 would now reflect.
Thank you. And a second? Thank you. So on that amendment, do we have any public comment? Okay, seeing none, we'll call the vote on that amendment. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. All right. All right, so we can have discussion now on the amendment resolution. Thank you.
So here I would like to point out that I'm going to obviously vote for this amended resolution because it pulls out $350,000. So I'm fine with the 50 plus. But again, it's like, is this not, this is a separate project. It wasn't foreseen in the original bidding out that we would have to pave next to the building that we just put on $1.3 million into. So I'm just a little curious as to why this wouldn't have been included. It feels like, you know, we're sneaking in another, if we go out to bid, I mean, let's hope we get it at 300 and save ourselves 50 grand, but it's still a significant piece of this project that wasn't considered when we were having lots and lots of discussions about this park and our $1 million toilet. So I'm just not understanding why this couldn't have been foreseen, that we would have to pave and be ADA compliant and allow people to get into the very expensive stables that we had just built. So I'm just speaking my feelings, but I will vote for this resolution as amended.
Mr. White?
Yeah, to address that, from the outset, it was always contemplated that the parking areas, including the pathway up to the stable building, as well as the path that connects to the lower lot, and then portions of the lower lot are all going to be resurfaced. That's been part of the plan. It's still part of the plan. The reason why it was introduced as part of this change order is initial conversations with the solicitor's office suggested that we might be able to include it as with Davis Construction and ask them to do that work. Turns out that we're not comfortable with that. The better route to go is to pull that out, bid it separately. So what we had presented here initially was kind of an audible to the existing engagement with Davis. Turns out that we're not comfortable with doing that, so we're going back to Plan A, which is Davis is going to complete the construction of the facility, the $1 million bathroom, and that we will come back to the board with a separate bid to do the resurfacing of the parking area and the pathways, which was always part of the plan.
So this comes out of the bond that was already secured for it. It's
Yeah.
all within the total that we had voted for.
It's all going to be within the total, 100%. What was initially proposed when this agenda was put together was to try to save a little bit of time and money by amending the Davis contract to include the paving now. That's not what we can do, so we're going to bid that separately and have a different contractor do that down the road. But it's all within what was borrowed. We're still under budget in terms of the total project cost until we'll see what those bids come back at.
If
I
I
don't want to
may.
speak for Commissioner Mulroney, but part of my concern was that, as she said, we know we're going to pave it, we know. And it would be great if they could be doing it now. So why wasn't the bid sent out so that it could be on the road after all this work was finished? Why, that we have to wait now for, I don't know how long, to get this going, instead of just the work, instead of, you know, the stop and start and stop and start. It just could have kept going.
That's a fair question. There's a sequencing involved with the installation of these different facilities, and the fact that this paving work is going to have to connect all of them. You can't have the work happening at the same time to make sure that they are connected in a way that meets the standard.
I'm not asking
that's
about
the
the same
phasing
time.
of the project.
I'm not asking about the same time. It's that we knew, yeah, everybody you would know, once that was finished, that this work would be the next thing. And so why do we have to wait?
Yeah, so the other thing, and we're rewinding the clock back to, you know, the concerns with the commissioners at the time investing this much in rehabbing a stable building was the price tag. We had made the decision at the time that instead of hiring someone to manage this project, we were going to save money and do it with staff. So we as staff members, mostly Tammy, have been managing the day-to-day installation of this. And yeah, had we had a third-party company doing it, they might have had this out to bid or been ahead of it. But we're saving money by doing it with staff, and yeah, I mean that's where we're at. So this is the bandwidth and the capacity to get this project done in the budget and the manner of which that we were told to get it done in. It was saving money was more important than getting it done quickly.
If I may, I'm sorry. So when we presented this project in terms of how it was going to sequence, just to echo what Mr. White's saying, the parking lots and the accessibility were not part of the stable portion of the project that was being bid because we pulled it out. We kept it out because we were saving money. We thought we were going to save money by having our in-house engineering team design it, which they've done. They put together that plan and that specification. So that was one of the cost savings that was going to help us stay under the ceiling of the bond that we knew was a very thin margin of money that was left. So all along, we knew this was going to be done, but it just was not going to be bid as part of the stable and the stable renovation. What ended up happening is once Davis got out on site and they started doing their work, they started doing work within a very defined perimeter in and around the stable. So while they were engaged and on the site, we had an opportunity for them to take what our engineering team had designed in-house and put together and go out to the site and look at that, and they offered to give us a price to it. So initially when I had met with the solicitor, we understood that that could potentially be a change order to their project, meaning to the contractor's portion of the project at the stable, because it included parts and pieces of the project that were contiguous to the stable. So providing the accessibility to the parking lot, to the pavilion, to the lower parking lot. So that's why it was initially dubbed as a change order and not then bid, and was seen as being such a lower percentage of the overall project of the stable that we could do it without having to bid it. So hopefully maybe that starts to clarify a little bit. I know it's been a complicated project, but all along it had different phases that were being done by different groups of people to try and save money to the overall project.
So Director Cohen, or perhaps this is to you, Mr. White. I think at this point, since this is coming back to us and it's going to be a big chunk of money again to have this conversation again, like a real full accounting of what's gone down with this project, like what we thought the money was going to go to in the original proposal, what's been spent out now, kind of what's left in the kitty. I think that would be very helpful for me and probably some other commissioners. So if I could request that to be sent around and presented the next time this issue comes up.
Yeah, no, we'll get that communicated to the board prior to that. Yeah, we have it. We have the full accounting, so that won't be a problem.
All right, thank you. Any comments from the public? Okay, I'm going to call a vote on this amended resolution 2026-67. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Thank you. 3D, motion to amend resolution 2026-70 to increase the banner purchase to $29,000. Thank you.
If I may. Yeah. Okay. We dealt with this last time. Turns out we need things to hang those flags on. Who knew? So we didn't have that information. We don't need them all, but we do need for some. So it was 3,600 or 3,700. So foreseeing that we may need a few more, I asked it be increased to 4,000 instead of just $3,600, and that's about that. Ms. Gallagher, did you want to jump in?
The commissioner's exactly right. We had Public Works go out and inspect all 97 poles. Of the 97, 55 do need new brackets in order to support these banners. This quote is for sets of 2. So 55 brackets, sets of 2, and it will total $6,600 for that hardware. And we'd like to move forward so we can go ahead and hang our America 250 banners.
Thank you.
Yes, it should have been foreseen. I totally agree with you. But it wasn't. Okay, there we go.
All right, thank you. Any comments from the public? Yeah, do we have a motion for this?
So moved.
And a second? Thank you. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, reports from board liaisons. Anyone? Anyone? New business.
Yeah, I have just one thing I wanted to mention, and Ms. Gallagher actually sent out an email in the middle of this meeting that reinforces this, is that tomorrow is Villanova University's graduation. So be prepared for traffic. And it's also Election Day, so that the polls that are normally located at the Mullen Center at Villanova have been moved to Radnor Elementary School. Everyone, the people have been notified 3 times by the county, by us, and by Villanova that this is happening. So Ward 2, Precinct 2, and Ward 7, Precinct 3 are at Radnor Elementary School.
I'm just going to jump on that one. Another major change in polling places is Ward 5. So all residents of Ward 5 are now joining our friends and neighbors of Ward 4 and voting at Ithan Elementary School. That is the new home for both precincts of Ward 5, Ward 5, 1, and 2.
Thank you. Yeah, on your 5A, Ceasefire PA Advocacy Day co-sponsor request. Mr. White? Sorry.
Yeah, President Riley was reached out to by Ceasefire PA and the Ceasefire PA Education Funds, asking if he would be willing to sign their petition, and we thought it'd be best, given the nature of the request, that it be something discussed publicly. If the board supported signing the, basically it's asking to become a co-sponsor for End Gun Violence Advocacy Day 2026. June 2nd, 2026 is the day they've identified for the End Gun Violence Advocacy Day. What does it mean to be a co-sponsor? They're asking is we need all the people we can from across the Commonwealth to engage and recruit constituents, members, and followers to learn about the Advocacy Day by signing this this petition. The only information required under the petition is the organization's name, address, state, which is kind of funny, as well as an organization email, phone number, social handles, as well as the person signing it. There's no financial commitment or any other commitments beyond just adding the township's name to the list. So that's the request from the fund. Again, it's Ceasefire PA Action and Ceasefire PA Education Fund.
I would be on board with this. I think Ceasefire PA is a good organization doing a lot of good work around the issue of ending gun violence. So I'm on board. Anyone else?
Is there, they did reach out to me from Central Baptist Church and asked me to be a part of the discussion on tomorrow evening at around 7 o'clock. Is there any conflict or anything, or no? Just want to make sure I'm not.
No, I think that's a
Okay.
great thing. Yeah, I think it's a really powerful organization. It's not, I don't know, to me it's kind of a no-brainer. We would like to have less gun violence in this state.
Yeah, I just wanted to, if I do this, and I want to do this, but I wanted to make sure the majority of the board is okay with that. Head nods are fine. All right, thank you. Thank you. Old business? Public participation? Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
And a
Second.
second. All in favor?